Okay, so I was just saying that we have in here the study of how the surface influence the rolling resistance. The better the surface, the lower the coefficient of rolling resistance. And think about a principle that is used to, in case of an emergency, based on this rolling resistance coefficient. If you get stuck on sand and you get stuck on mud, one of the things you could do is lower the pressure on the tires. And in doing that, you are doing the opposite to what it recommends in here for lower coefficient of resistance. In that case, you increase it, but you increase it because you need it. You need to move your car out of sand or mud. You actually want to be able to increase the rolling resistance coefficient as much as you can to be able to move the vehicle from sand or from mud. Here's a little bit more of a scientific analysis on the road conditions. You have on the bottom, number 6 is very coarse, is harsh texture. Then you have medium coarse, medium, okay. And so you have a medium surface when it's rolled asphalt with mixed aggregate, or you have rolled asphalt with mixed aggregate, rounded mixed aggregate. That's much smoother. And then you have new concrete, and then finally polished concrete is the last one. Okay, in this case we have an analysis of the rolling resistance coefficients as a function of load and inflation pressure. So let's take a look a little bit at these charts. You see here's the rolling resistance on the side for all these graphs, and we have a radial tire. Okay, so in here you have the resistance, and then you have with the tire pressure, this is what I was trying to tell you, that if the tire pressure is low, then you will increase this. What else can I tell you? This is a function of the pressure here. All right. Now, in the case of a different, case of analysis of a road, you could see in there that sand is at the top. Sand will produce a higher coefficient of friction. So you could see how with the inflation pressure and then you have the comparison for sand or medium hard soil of concrete. Okay, this one is to consider the shoulder crown wear and the variation of the shoulder crown wear with the inflation pressure for radial play and bias play tires. In here you have this index and you have the inflation pressure here. So you can see that the plots are different. These are for the bias plate tire. These are for the radial tire. Okay. Now here's what I was trying to say, that since the tires behave differently in different surfaces, particularly if we look at even a smooth surface, the tire is going to deform. It's not going to be totally round. But since this happen quickly, as it runs fast, then we would like to know how it deforms, and this is one way that to show that the deformation occurs. So that's another factor to consider. Talk about the internal temperature of the tire versus the rolling resistance. This becomes a very common topic of conversation during the NASCAR races, because you hear in the commentary that the temperature of the tire has a lot to do with how the car handles, and sometimes they tell you, the announcer says, oh, he's coming in as getting 4 fresh tires. Well, because the as the temperature goes up, this coefficient of rolling resistance may lower. So in here you see the temperature as it is going up, obviously the value is going down. See here. So you have in here the rolling resistance coefficient, and then you have the internal tire pressure. So internal tire pressure and the car speed. Okay. So this is the effect of the internal pressure on rolling resistance coefficient. Here's another thing. Rolling resistance coefficient versus shoulder temperature for different kinds of tires. This test was done on a P195/75R14. You go back, okay, so if you see the increase in shoulder temperatures, you could see how low it goes. It is significant because from 0.3 to 0.03 to 0.01, it makes a big difference, the temperature. That's why you hear, like I said, on the races, or new fresh tire will produce more friction. What about the diameter of the tire? I would say, without looking at the charts, that a tire that has a bigger diameter will have less of a rolling resistance coefficient. But let's see if that's true. Tire diameter, yeah. Here we have the other objective of tires, which is braking efforts versus tractive effort. Like in this case, rolling resistance coefficient here, and you have some with inflation pressure of let's say 24.2 psi, and you can see we have to not to have this roll efficient coefficients too high, but in this case for tractive effort you can see changes, but for braking so this is called tractive and braking effort on rolling resistance coefficient. So there are many factors that influence this. This is a little bit more scientifically explained. This is the behavior of the tire under the action of the driving torque. So let's see. We will take